area has preserved more of its antique features than the south. Some of the pubs and buildings are remnants of the old, tall, irregular tenements that ranged in line in the lee of the great bridge of the Castle Rock. Behind the well lies Greyfriars Churchyard. The strong retaining wall and battlement were built in the early part of the 20th century, specifically for the sole purpose stated at the time to keep the dead from breaking bounds upon the living. In 1562, the city magistrates, under a charter of Mary Queen of Scots, converted what had been the garden of a Franciscan monastery into what is now Greyfriars Churchyard. Museum of Scotland. The section is designed by Robert Adam, but later completed by William Henry Playfair. The university was founded in the late 16th century and was the fourth in Scotland, following behind St Andrews, Glasgow and Aberdeen. It is the sixth oldest university in what is now Great Britain. It was constructed with 43 houses on each side of the bridge and a series of warehouses underneath. At that period, this was a very high-class street where were situated the Goldsmiths' Hall and the Merchant House. In addition, this was the original site of one of Edinburgh's noted universities, Heriot Watt. Failure of the potato crop in Europe in 1845, and again, specifically, tragically, in Ireland in 1846, that it caused large numbers of immigrants to come here in that year. Some of these people lived in the south. In the tenement James Connolly was born in 18. Knox was the chief architect of the Protestant Reformation in Scotland and a pivotal figure in Scottish history. An adherent of Calvin, Knox became minister in St Giles, where he was admired for his fiery and inspirational preaching.
Der Bereich
This stop is also for the Canongate Church. Canongate Church, which sits on the left, has the royal coat of arms on the gable end, indicating that this is the church used by the sovereign when she is in residence at the Palace of Holyrood House. In 2011, this was the venue for a royal wedding, with the marriage of Queen Elizabeth's granddaughter, Zara Phillips, to Mike Tyndall, a former captain of the English rugby team. In the graveyard is the former cross of the borough of the Canongate, a separate town outside the city wall of Edinburgh. Adam Smith, known as the father of economics, is buried in this graveyard. The next stop is for the Palace of Holyrood House, the Queen's Gallery and the Parliament Complex. In 1498, just before his marriage to Margaret Tudor, King James IV started to alter what was the guest house of that abbey to form a palace. Margaret was the daughter of King Henry VII of England and the sister of the man who would become one of England's most
Kamag-anak pa rin nila. Hollywood po. Wow.
posts are surmounted with a crown, demonstrating that the park was once owned by the monarch. It is now maintained by Historic Environment Scotland. At one time, this area was heavily wooded and part of the Great Forest of Drumshoe. Game such as hare, deer, badger and boar was abundant. The ground was first designated Royal Hunting Park by King James V in 1546. The next stop is for Dynamic Earth. If you are visiting this attraction, please buy your ticket from the driver, as they can offer a discount not available at the door. As said before, this was a brewery, one of many breweries in what was for a time an industrial district that grew up around the palace. As Robert Louis Stevenson remarked in 1870, the palace has been left aside in the growth of Edinburgh. It stands grey and silent in a workman's quarter among breweries and gasworks. Six days old. Surrounded by uncertainty and possible danger, her mother, Mary Guise-Lorraine, who was regent for her infant child, shipped Mary to the French court, where she married the Dauphin in 1558.
Scottish party.
कोई देखना है क्या? अंदर जाने का?
Designed in 1820. Common problem with house building programs, the scheme was never completed. At number 3, his epic masterpiece, Tam O'Shanter, and his Address to a Haggis are much recited in Burns suppers both in Scotland and all over the world. Stands count.
Huh? So we have to get up here, right? One. Where do you want to get up?
There are impressive monuments for
One.
you to photograph and enjoy. Should you decide to visit Milton Hill, you will
designed
to resemble a telescope, and the National Monument, intended to be a copy of the Netherlands. Unfortunately, the money ran out.
Stardust na. Stardust.
Leaving just a few copies. Because of this, it was disgrace.
Okay, stay on.
Davon ist kalt.
Ayan o.
Zieht.
Bridge wala na.
This was the first records house to be built in Britain, predating the Somerset House in London. The material held here is fairly searchable. So if you wish to see if you can trace any possible Scottish ancestry you may have, this is the place to do it. Up the lane to the left of this registry is New Register House, built in 1860 by Robert Morum. This contains records of births, marriages and deaths. Sculpted by Amelia Robertson Peyton, one of the few women sculptors in 19th century Edinburgh. Peyton also sculpted 3 of the 64 character statues on the Scott Monument, the large Gothic structure built to commemorate the life of Sir Walter Scott. The Scott Monument is the largest monument in the world dedicated to a writer. Although primarily remembered for his extensive literary works and his political engagement, Scott was a talented, multifaceted man, for he was also an advocate, the Scottish version of a barrister, a sheriff, and the Scottish version of a judge. He also discovered the lost crown jewels of Scotland, buried in the depths of Edinburgh Castle, a deed that saw him knighted in 1820.